What is up, guys? We are back for another video, and in this video we're actually adding to our tips and tricks playlist, which includes all of our dropper builds, tips and tricks videos, just anything related to how to really maximize what you can get out of your CubeCraft Skyblock island. And I've had a ton of people, whether it be in live streams or in video comments, asking me about how to get experience on CubeCraft Skyblock, or what's the best way to do it, or how should they do it. And that's going to be the focus of today's video, guys. So we're going to take a deep dive on what it takes to get experience on CubeCraft Skyblock and how you can try and maximize that effort for yourself. So to get things started, let's talk about the main ways to get experience. There's really two ways to get experience on CubeCraft Skyblock. And the first one's going to be mining the various ores that you're used to getting experience from in survival Minecraft. So things like coal and lapis and nether quartz and diamonds and emeralds, all that good stuff. And then the other way is by killing mobs, right? So zombies, sheep, whatever you kill, you can get experience from that. So that's really the two ways to get experience. I don't know if I think it's the same on Java, but you cannot get experience from smelting things. It doesn't work. It's really just those two main methods. So those are the methods we're going to cover today, and really dive into the numbers around. So stay tuned, guys. We've got a lot of good stuff coming in the video here. Now, before we get too deep into this, I want to mention that this is more so focused on those of you who are wanting to take your mid game, your late game to the next level when it comes to getting experience. If you're in the early game, and by early game I mean like maybe you're on the desert island, just mine the stuff that you can mine, which is going to be lapis and coal, and build yourself a little dropper with the zombie spawners you get from the desert island. You can build a little spider XP farm with the spider spawners, but it's not going to give you a lot of experience, but it's what you can kind of get the most value of at that point in the game. So this is not for those of you who are on like the second island. If you're at that point in the game, just mine stuff and kill what you can, and that's how you can get some experience. Now, if you're on an island where you have access to zombies, so the desert island, or maybe even a little bit after that, this is where some of these tips might come in handy for you. The last thing I'll mention is that right now, as of the recording of this video, there is a bit of a bug with swords, at least on Bedrock, where one of the more recent updates made it so that swords lost their sweeping strike or sweeping edge ability. So when you swing your sword at mobs that are all packed together, you only hit one at a time. You used to be able to hit all of them, and everybody that was a secondary hit took at least half a heart of damage. That doesn't actually work as of this video, but hopefully that's fixed sometime in the future, and our killing machines become much more efficient. So throughout this video, we're going to cover the detailed numbers behind each of these methods of getting experience, and then there's also going to be a link in the description of the video for a Google Sheet that I have prepared that breaks down a lot of the raw data. I'm going to kind of flash the high points as we go throughout the video, but if you want to dig into the numbers, there'll be a link in the description below for that. And then last but not least, guys, I put a lot of effort into this video between getting all the numbers, buying spawners, leveling them up, and dying a couple times in the process. So I put a ton of blood, sweat, and probably some tears into this video. So if you enjoyed, if it helps you, please give it a thumbs up. It helps out a lot, and consider subscribing for more videos like this if you are not currently subscribed. All right, so now that I got all those formalities out of the way, let's dig into the generators and talk about what we're going to get from each of them. We're going to start from the worst, go to the top, and all these numbers are as if you started from 0 experience. So keep that in mind. Assume I had 0 experience, and the numbers I'm going to show you are related to that. And then also, again, this is not an exact science. my numbers might be a little bit different than yours, but they should be relatively close. So with coal, we're going to get, starting from level 0, 0.6 levels for mining 1 block. We're going to get 4.25 for the first 10 blocks we mine, and 6.5 levels for the first 20 blocks that we mine. And coal takes 1 minute to regenerate, right? So once you have enough coal blocks, you can pretty much mine them infinitely because they'll regenerate faster than you can mine them. Like, I can't mine this whole thing before the coal starts regenerating. Next, we have lapis. And with lapis, every piece of lapis, or every block of lapis that we mine, gives us about 0.9 levels, or every 10 for 5.4 levels, and every 20 gives about 8.4 levels. And then keep in mind that even though this gives us more experience than coal, it takes 10 times as long to regenerate than coal does. It takes 10 minutes for lapis blocks to regenerate. Next on the list is emerald, in terms of ranking, if you will. And for every block of emerald that we mine, we get 4.25 levels for 1 block, 17.25 levels for 10, and about 24.3 levels for 20 blocks. And again, keep in mind that as you go up in levels in Minecraft, it takes more experience to get to the next level, which is why you can't just say, hey, every block you mine is going to be 4.25 levels every time in this case. It's going to, progressively get slower and slower as you go up. So keep that in mind. And in the second place, we have diamonds. So diamonds give us, for 1 block, assuming we're starting at 0, 8.2 levels. And every 10 blocks is 27.5 levels, and every 20 blocks is 35.4 levels. And also keep in mind that diamonds take the longest amount of time to regenerate, in that they take 12 hours to regenerate without any boosters. And in first place, we actually have nether quartz. So I've talked about this on my streams and in other videos, that nether quartz is by far the best block to mine to get experience, and that is because each block you mine, starting at 1 block, is 6.8 levels, 10 blocks is 24.25 levels, and 20 blocks is 32.5 levels. And nether quartz takes 3 hours to regenerate. Now, let me throw up the summary here, and because you might be wondering, well, it seems like nether quartz for 20 blocks has less experience than the equivalent amount of blocks for diamond, and while that is true, and that it's a couple of levels below diamond, nether quartz regenerates 4 times as fast as diamond, right? So it's only slightly worse, but every time you mine diamond and nether quartz, you could mine those same nether quartz blocks 4 more, or a total of 3 more times before you mine your next diamond block. So this is the summary, guys. If you are looking to mine blocks to get experience, nether quartz is by far your best bet. Obviously, you don't want to neglect your diamonds or your emeralds. They're helpful too. And obviously, or maybe not obviously, until you unlock the last island in the nether, you cannot buy nether quartz generators. The only time you get them is from unlocking the new islands and digging them up, or doing some of the quests and side quests that have rewards for nether quartz generators. So they're a little bit more difficult to get, and that you can't just outright buy them for quite a while. But again, they are quite helpful. And hey, look at that, I completed 50% of that quest. So that is the generator breakdown. Again, these aren't going to be your primary source of experience once you get into the closer to the late game of CubeCraft Skyblock, but again, don't neglect them. I always try to mine up my nether quartz whenever it's available, just because I get a ton of experience, right? I just started, I think when I started this video, I was in like the 20s, the low 20s, and I'm up to level 54. So it's definitely helpful. So don't neglect it. All right, guys, I'm gonna go grab some food real quick. So now that we got the generators out of the way, let's talk about the real main source of getting experience here. Again, it'll get a lot better than it is right now when they fix swords, or if they fix swords, but killing mobs for experience is going to be by far the best way to get experience as you progress later and later into the game. So With that said, there are quite a few spawners, right, that we have access to on CubeCraft. What's the what should you care about, right? There's everything from cows to zombie pigmen to skeletons to creepers. You can probably obviously guess that creepers aren't the best way to go for a number of reasons, right? Unless you just like some adventure in your life, then I guess you can go with creepers. But so yeah, you might be wondering what spawners are the best, and through my testing, they're gonna be in this order: zombies, then pigmen, then wither skeletons. Now, wither skeletons are the best, but they're also by far the most expensive. You have to be fairly far into the game to get them. So what I would say is, if you're in the mid game, which is kind of where I'm at on this island at this point, I guess I'm closer to the late game, but doing what I'm about to show you guys with zombies is a great way to start. I did that on my first co-op, and we used those spawners for quite a while. From there, you're going to likely progress into pigmen and start leveling up some pigmen spawners, and then from there, once you have just more money than you know what to do with, wither skeletons are going to be certainly your best bet. So what I've done and what I've prepared for you guys is a breakdown of exactly what it takes to get each spawner from level 1 to level 60. And yes, I did buy each of the spawners. Zombies not that impressive, but a pigmen spawner and a wither skeleton spawner. I don't have withers unlocked yet on this island, so I bought one on the co-op island that I have and broke the numbers down from there. So without further ado, let's start running some of the numbers here, and you guys can take a look at what it costs to get some of these spawners going. So we're going to start with zombies, because that's where you're going to likely start on your island. And to get a brand new zombie spawner, obviously you'll get some as you unlock islands after the desert island. But assuming you want to buy one from scratch, it's going to cost you 40,000 coins. And obviously it's a level 1 spawner, so you don't need any rotten flesh to buy it or anything like that. And you just get, you know, the amount of experience you would normally get for killing a zombie. That said, pigmen's up next, and pigmen spawners cost 40 million coins to buy them from the shop. And then, oh hey, level 60. And then from there, the next one up is going to be wither skeletons, and wither skeletons are significantly more expensive. They cost 125 million coins per spawner. Again, you'll get several when you unlock the wither skeleton island in the Nether, which is the 3rd island, I believe. So now that you know how much money you're going to have to blow on these things, the next question you're probably asking yourself is, well, what level should I get them to? What's the you know, what should that look like? And I'll tell you from my experience how I broke out the data we're going to cover here is that I started off by leveling all my spawners to level 30 on my co-op island, so I got like 16 or 17 level 30 zombie spawners, and they were pretty sufficient for my experience needs for a good chunk of time. So what we're going to run through now is what it takes to get each of these to level 30, and then the later game level of level 60. Obviously, you can make your spawners higher levels than that if you want to. I'm actually going to go enchant my sword here. But I would say that like level 60 is going to be great for a while, and obviously to get a whole bunch of wither skeleton spawners, you're going to need a whole lot of coins. So those are the tiers that I'm going to break down here. And then again, I don't think I mentioned this earlier. I actually use a smite sword to do this as well, because in this particular case, regardless of which one of these 3 mobs we use, each one is considered an undead mob. Therefore, it takes more damage from smite than it does from sharpness. So having smite on your sword just it'll do more damage than sharpness. So if you want to have a sword that can kill everything equally, more or less, you can put sharpness on it, but I'm using a smite sword for this stuff. So anyways, to get your zombie spawner from level 1 to level 30, you're going to need basically almost 2.3 million coins, 580 rotten flesh, and what that'll give you as an output is each each zombie you kill will give you almost 18 times as much experience as the level 1 zombie will. So think about it as each zombie you kill is worth almost 18 level 1 zombies. So quite a bit of gain, right? When you have several of these spawners, it's like you're killing hundreds of zombies in a pretty short amount of time. The next one is Pigmen. So Pigmen's going to take about 42 million coins total to get to level 30. Obviously, most of that's coming from the purchase price. And you're going to need, again, 580 nuggets, gold nuggets, to get that leveled up. Lastly, Wither Skeletons, you're going to need 127 million coins, a little bit over that, and 580 bones. And I forgot to mention that, so the Pigmen at that same level 30 gives you 34.67 experience boost, and Wither Skeleton is 44.02, right? So every Wither Skeleton that you kill is like you killed 44 level 1 skeletons, which is pretty insane when you start having a good number of those things piling up, right? One thing you'll notice is that, or maybe you didn't, is the cost is actually relatively the same, or it's actually the exact same to level it from level 1 to 30. So if you take the purchase prices out, the per level costs are the same across the board for each spawner. So if you already have spawners that you're unlocking from islands, it costs you no more money to upgrade the Wither Skeleton one than it does a zombie one, which is kind of cool. And the number of materials consumed is the exact same across the board as well. So you need 580 of whatever that material is to get it to level 30. All right, the moment that you guys have all been waiting for is the big reveal of what does it take to get each spawner to level 60, because the cost does start going up, at least for coins, somewhat exponentially as you get past level 30. So to get things started, we've got the zombie spawner. You're going to need a total of 18.3 million coins to get it to level 60. It's obviously quite a bit more than the 2 million to level 30, which is why level 30 is a great breakpoint, because it's not overly expensive. And you're going to need a little over 2,000 rotten flesh, and what that'll net you is each zombie you kill has an XP boost of 43.21. So if you kill, 5 zombies, it's like you killed 200, right? So it gets pretty crazy as you get up into these higher levels. Next up is Pigmen, and it's going to cost you 58.3 million coins to get that bad boy to level 60. Again, 2,000 gold nuggets, but you'll notice it has almost double the XP boost at this point than the zombie spawner. So it's decently more expensive, right? But the XP boost is also much, much greater for these. So if you have the same amount of each, right, you're getting almost twice the experience from the Pigmen spawners as you are zombies. And last but not least, this is where you can really start to see the Wither Skeleton spawner take first place as well, is it costs you 143 million coins. So again, it's not cheap by any means. 2,000 bones, or a little bit over that. But the XP boost is 108, almost 109 times the amount of experience for each of those Wither Skeletons, right? So every Wither Skeleton you kill was like you killed 100 of the one prior, which is pretty insane if you ask me. So if we net all this out, right, you've got 43 versus 85 versus 108. So you can see kind of how that stair step works and the natural progression from one to the next. On this island, I'm just going to get a bunch of my spawners to level 60 and put them up in the top. At least the zombie spawners and the zombie pigment spawners, the ones that I already have. It doesn't hurt anything, right? But another question that I know you guys are going to wonder and ask me is, well, how tall should I build my dropper based on the level of the mobs that I'm dropping, right? So the idea here is you want them to fall to the point where ideally they're one-hit kills if they're not the tough versions of whatever that mob is. So I took my original dropper, I retrofitted it a little bit, and let's throw the numbers up on the screen. So if you are using the level 30 spawners, you're going to want to make your mobs fall about 75 blocks so that the non-tough versions, they'll have anywhere between half a heart and I think about 2 hearts. So they're basically one-hit kills, especially if you have a sword that's like Smite 4. They'll definitely be one-hit kills. Now, once you get to level 60, though, you can see it's not exactly double the blocks. It's actually a little bit more than that. And that is because, let's not die here. That is because if we come down here to the bottom, again, let's try not to die. You'll notice that the mobs all have gold armor on, and while I don't know what exactly the enchants are on this, like all of the armor is enchanted, and I imagine that, or not all of it, but most of it is, and I imagine that they have some form of additional fall protection. Maybe they have feather falling, I don't know. But they have armor. The wither skeletons also spawn with armor at this level. I don't have any yet on this island, but I confirmed that they do. And so you're going to need to drop these guys 162 blocks in order to sort of find that sweet spot. You might be able to drop them a block or two more, but as you can see, like this guy here has 3 hearts left, so he's like one-hit kill. And these are coming out of level 60 spawners here, level 60 zombie spawners and level 60 pigmen spawners. So obviously the tough ones are a little bit more of a challenge to kill, and I probably would actually make my kill zone here a 1x2 area just to make it a little more efficient. So that, guys, is the summary of generators and the spawners and how far to drop them, all that good stuff. And I'll also throw up here, here's a quick visual of some of what the spreadsheet entails that I will link. The spreadsheet's going to tell you literally from each level, so from level 1 to level 60, it's going to be 60 rows of data for each mob type. Exactly how many coins it costs to get to that level, how many of the materials do you need, and what should your expected XP boost be, should you not want to follow the 30 or 60 level range in what you're building. So again, you don't have to do that. I just think those are good natural breakpoints, especially from a money perspective as you get really far into this. So feel free to save a copy of that spreadsheet if you want, or just bookmark it so that you can come back and reference it. I also have a little off to the side table of information related to some of the other mob types, so you can kind of compare them and see like, oh, why didn't he do witches, or why didn't he do creepers, things like that. It's just, I think that these 3 mobs that I showed you guys are the best way to get experience. So I, for one, am going to be building up my dropper up there with some zombie spawners and pigmen spawners that are level 60 to really start increasing my experience output. And after I get a few more creeper spawners, I'm actually going to start buying some pigmen spawners to just get a little bit more consistent with my experience as I want to level up my tools and armor and things like that. So I'm going to be applying all the stuff that I just talked about in this video in my actual playthrough. If you don't know, I have a Let's Play series where I start from the beginning and play all the way up till now, and if you're seeing this video in the future, where I'll end up. So feel free to check that out if you want to kind of follow along and see how I do things as I progress through the islands. And again, guys, hopefully this video was informative. Hopefully it wasn't too dense. There weren't too many numbers. Try to keep it interesting. But yeah, again, this is just to help you guys and answer those questions that I seem to always get around. How do I get experience? What's the best way to do it? Or what are different ways to do it? So again, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. That helps me out a ton. Subscribe, or consider subscribing if you're not already. And with that said, guys, I'll see you in the next one.